Hello everyone, and welcome back. It is time for Misfits Racing League action. Of course, my name is Strifium. Joining me is Seb, and we are here today for the Misfits Racing League Hungarian Grand Prix. It's the second of 5 races this week, and it's the Oceanic Grid. How you doing, Seb?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, doing good.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good noon to whoever's watching. Glad to have you guys with us.
Yes. Of course, we are going to be jumping into Budapest. Going to take a look at the circuit. It's a very unique circuit. I think it can be deceiving looking at the circuit. It looks like it may be, somewhat of a nice, easy, flowing circuit. No, it's quite the opposite. It is a very, very downforce heavy, traction dependent, patient circuit, the Hungaroring, of course, here in Budapest. It's the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's round 3 for the Oceanic Grid. Let's take a look at the calendar real quick before we jump into some racing. We had Silverstone last week, which was a very interesting race. We had Austria for round 1 for these Oceanic boys. Now we have Hungary, Belgium next week. We have Italy, Singapore, Russia, Japan, the US, Mexico, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi still on the agenda for this season. Of course, the Oceanic guys are going to be going through all of those races, just the rest as the Season 3 MRL drivers will be. Let's take a look at the teams in the Oceanic lineup. Of course, we have Apollo Pepsi and Big Impulse over at Mercedes. That's Stars and Trin for Ferrari. We have Mikau and Panda over at Red Bull. We have Resin Yukio for McLaren, Combined YouTuber and Ruben over at Renault. Wengod and Psycho for AlphaTauri with Zaino and Ben the Bear at Racing Point. That's Revo and Shrimp. Big shout out to the Alfa Romeo guys yesterday in the esports. They did quite well. Revo, a development driver for them. We have Big Al and Gazieg over at Haas. Of course, Simdaga and T-Mac. And yeah, we're just going to jump straight into this race here. We won't look at the standings because the lobby's ready to go now.
It's an interesting circuit, this one. You've got the 3 big straights between turn 11, 12, 14 and 1, and 3 and 4, but you're not really going to expect a lot of overtaking maneuvers with all this high downforce. You can expect some good battling from turn 1 to 4. However, this track, it's all about developing a rhythm. Turn 5 to 11, you need to have a good rhythm and a good understanding of your car if you want to hook up a good lap or gain time on your competitors in a race.
Yeah. Shame we didn't get to see the standings there. Of course, right now, Revo is leading the championship. That I can confirm for you. We'll take a look at this grid right now. Gazieg 1 on the timing tower. We'll go down through. It's Yukio, Big Impulse, Apollo, Combined YouTuber. We have Panda, Ben the Bear, Ruben, Revo. Freeware on a reserve roll today for Shrimp, I believe. Yeah, that is for Shrimp. So he's filling in over at Alpha. We have Stars, Wangod, Mikau, T-Mac, Zaino, Trin. We got Rez on the grid, Simdaga, Big Al, and Psycho. So pretty well the entirety of the full-time grid. I think Freeware might be the only reserve today.
Yeah, I believe so as well. Just a note, it is dry race. Sorry, dry quali, dry race. We have overcast race as well. No rain in sight though.
Big Al, first driver out of the pit lane here, coming down through turn 2. Going through turn 3. Now, turn 4, where the Haas is coming up to, has seen a lot of drivers this week have some issues. It's a very, very fast left-hander coming up that small hill into that 4th turn. And then you come into this right-hander of turn 5, and this is a combination of turns that has seen many a drivers struggle. Then we flow through into the chicane into the left-hander. Through into a flowing right-hander, and this is a very flowing section of circuit here. Drivers very fast through here, trying to keep that lateral grip through so that they don't fly off the circuit. And of course, down into sector 3, turn 12 now, into the penultimate turn, as he will be the first driver to start a lap.
Nice and relaxed. Entry and start into the lap. Get that car wide out. Fling it to the left to the starter lap. DRS open. Get that thing up into 8th gear. As we go down, we're looking for about 75 meters. You're going to brake a relatively late turn in, aim for second gear because this track kind of tightens on you on exit. DRS open, keep that car to the right. You're going to get some wheels on this right-hand curb and just flick it through. Keep it tight as possible and then wash out wide for the maximum time gain. Clip these curbs, and this is fun right here. You're going to tap the brakes or just lift a little. 7th gear, at least goes into 6th. It's pretty good. Avoid this inside curb, it's an auto spin on you. Get it out wide, touch that curb. Now you're braking at the start of this curb. Ride these 2 curbs, just clip, clip, nice. Get it a bit out of shape there. Now it's just attack. Find the rhythm, find the balance of the car. Flow through these corners. This is flat out. Now you're going to have a lift through this as you turn out that black box on the right. Get it over. He's done pretty good there. Looking for just before that curb there. It's early turn in. This track opens up for you. Now this is a tough braking point. You're turning while braking. You've got to be very careful on the brakes and very careful on the throttle as well as you unwind the car. Miguel gets a bit out of shape. Now he's just got the last corner to deal with. Done a pretty good job there, I'd say.
114 flat.
He's about a second off what you'd expect from, I'd say, top of midfield as Revo goes 12. Expect Revo and Ben the Bear to be low 12s.
Well, Revo into that provisional pole spot with that 112.9. Very nice time from him. We have Apollo coming in 3rd quickest here in the Mercedes. He's a 114.8 thus far. We have another driver rounding. I believe that is going to be either Ruben. It is Ruben. He crosses 4th quickest, so 116.955 his first run on the softs here. So we'll see if he's able to improve. I think a few of these drivers are going to be putting in some slower times on these soft compound just to get those warm-up laps in. Softs can degrade really, really quick around here. Impulse, so 113.7.
Yeah, they do degrade really quickly. It's a toss-up between soft and hard and medium hard for the race. If you're qualifying outside the top 10, you're thinking of a hard to medium. The soft tyres have major tyre heating issues, and especially when you accumulate that with wear throughout laps, it tends to make it worse. You don't really get a chance to cool them down in that second sector, so that's where all the issues come from, along with the high load corners of turn 2 and turn 14. Tend to put a lot of stress on these tyres.
Quite a few drivers still on flyers on board with combined. Ben the Bear, 113.4 right now, his first lap in. They have been over the first 2 rounds neck and neck fighting for the lead of these races. So far, Revo has won both of the opening rounds here. Ben the Bear not having the most consistent start to his season. Combined crosses a 115.8 on the mediums. Yukio and the McLaren flying through the chicane.
Yeah, just on that note, just remember Ben the Bear and Revo did a bit of contact at turn 3 and 4 at Britain last race. Ben the Bear was also unlucky with that final safety car restart at Austria, which has lost him points, to say the least.
For sure. For sure. It'll be really interesting to see the difference in tire strategies here around Hungary.
Yeah, I was just about to point out, very interesting from combined to go early onto the mediums. If I'd say he's just using it as a banker, he'll probably go out and finish the session on softs. That normally seems to be a play by him.
Yukio. P5, a 114.5 was the time.
Yeah, it looked a good lap from him. I was like the way he attacked the second last corner, turn 13, kind of with that double apex kind of approach to it. Take an early turn in, wash out wide, and then kind of turn sharper in. Means you'll have a bit of a slower, lowest speed than just having the one apex, but can really help with traction.
On board with the other McLaren, that's Rez now flying through turn 5. About to come into the chicane, and he's doing quite well. Turn 4 was fairly clean.
Would like to see him attack turn 7, which is that second part of that high curb chicane a bit more. Would have allowed him to gain about 2 extra tenths in his lap time. But he's gone purple, so what do I know?
Two drivers out right now. We'll jump in with Stars in a second here. He had a very unfortunate demise last week in the second lap of that race around Silverstone. He had a great launch. Few overtakes down through Luffield. We thought he might have taken out his teammate there, but then he went through Cops and it was all over for him. Rez goes P5, a 114.2. Stars out of the final turn in the Ferrari.
Just noticing from the onboards we've had, I'm noticing a lot of guys going, well, not really taking the perfect, per se, line through turn 14, the final corner. Just a bit wide throughout the corner. Might cost you about a tenth. You're not really optimizing or reducing the amount of track you cover throughout the lap.
Simdog 20th on the timing tower right now. Bit of a lockup coming through turn 13 here on the inside. Finishing the lap, however, though. Going out of the final turn, DRS on the rear, wide open now for the Williams. It's going to be a 114.7.
Yeah, it's just showing another way you can take that turn 13. Just have a later apex. Many ways you can take that corner. It's all down to preference and how you feel and what your car can handle, essentially.
Revo, the current pole sitter, he's about to fly around to set another time here in Budapest. Coming out of the final turn now, the Alfa Romeo. What's the time going to be? It's an improvement by 3.5 tenths dead. He's at a 112.631 now. Neatly done from him, very rapid.
What's in the bed? He's just letting people by. Okay, I thought he was a bit worried Ben the Bear was going to get himself disqualified. He was just sitting on track between turn 9s and 10, just letting people by. It'll be interesting to see how he responds to Revo's lap time.
Impulse improves by 2 tenths, but it's not enough to sling him ahead of Ben. Variety of drivers on either out laps, in laps, or invalidated laps right now. No one really flying. As I say that, though, we jump on with the Renault. It's Ruben, the South African, coming through turn 4. It appears he's on an in-lap as well. Quite a ways off where he would be on a PB. Panda is flying. He's just come down into turn 1. I do believe that's Mikau ahead of him on a valid flyer as well, coming through turn 5, though, so we'll jump on with the lead Red Bull.
Using all of that track, using all of that curb. It's key for a good lap around here. It's just got a bit wide, yeah. It just looked like he hit the grass on the inside of turn 11. It's just washed his car out wide.
Well, Ruben has improved by 2.5 tenths, but it's not enough to really sling him into any major positions. As you said, Mikau on this invalidated run now. He's going to go again. But we will jump in with his teammate who's also invalidated. So both Red Bulls on invalidated times.
This is a hard circuit to absolutely nail perfectly. There's so many, like I said, you have to get in a rhythm with this track. If you're not nailed in, it's hard to hook it up. And just, you got to push the limits as well with this track, and you know, track limits here, pretty tight on you.
Things on this grid looking quite tight in the midfield right now. Gap to P3 is 0.899. That's Impulse there in third. You have Ben 4 tenths off of Revo. He ran a 113 flat on his second run. Pulls off for a flyer there. Coming out of turn 4. We're going to jump on. I think that was Panda.
He's backed out by the looks of it.
Looks like Mikau won't be finishing his run either. Who can we find on a flyer right now? Trin, not on a flyer. Not too many people out on flyers at the moment. Quite a few drivers, no time set just yet. The Haas of Gazieg right now. Coming through Sector 2, the beautiful flowing section of circuit here coming out of that chicane. Coming down through the final turn now, the Haas driver.
Hasn't managed his ERF for this lap. Yeah.
Yukio to the line. An improvement, 2/10 from the McLaren.
It's a bit of a lull phase right now in qualifying. Got a couple of people out on laps. Apollo Pepsi's just starting on by the looks of it. I expect more people to come out and track at around 3 minutes 30.
T-Mac coming up through turn 4. In the Williams, no time set yet from T-Mac. Or the 2 Red Bulls, as I say, Mikau. Onto some medium compound tires is heading out. Looks like his warm-up has finished, and these drivers are going to start to really pound the circuit, perhaps with some different tires. We can see a couple of drivers now switching over to some mediums.
This looks like a decent lap from T-Mac. It's a bit wide in turn 13.
Bit of a snap.
Yeah, it wasn't going to help his run out the corner. Yeah, that snap probably cost him about, say, 2/10. Just by going wide, that probably tossed about an extra half a tenth onto his lap time as well. So
Hopefully able to get in and get out for one more lap here. Maybe tight.
he's got time. You need to get out at about. You need to leave the pits at about 2 minutes. And I mean, say that by like doing the prompts that the game gives you. About 2 minutes to be able to get out and do lap on time. So
Impulse with an improvement, nearly 2/10 from him combined to the line. I'm not entirely sure if he's set a time or if he's just begun a time, but his teammate, however, Ruben ahead of him, just a ways on a flyer as well. Mikau has begun his flyer, his teammate Panda behind him as well. Of course, if you are just tuning in, my name is Strifium. Joining me is Seb from the Land Down Under. You are here watching the Misfits Racing League Oceanic Division. It is round 3. It is the Hungarian Grand Prix, and we're super happy to have you all here tuning in with us. Of course, here in Canada, things fairly early, 7:46 a.m. And over in Australia, things, I think, on the complete opposite of the spectrum.
10:46 p.m.
Ruben, with a massive improvement, 1.6 seconds was the improvement. He runs a 1:15.006. He's on the softs. He's in P14 at the moment. We're going to jump on as... Who was that that's just crossed the line? I believe it was his teammate Combined, jumping into 13th position. As Mikau sets his first lap, it's a 1:18.7. But I think that he may have just been getting started here because his energy deployment not nearly where it would be after a flyer, and he is flying full energy deployment coming through. His teammate Panda gets his first lap through. It's a little bit quicker than what we saw out of Mick. It's a 1:14.6 on the mediums.
Interesting choice from both of them as Mikau invalidates. He's taking away too much of that inside curve at turn 4. Got to keep at least, for this game, one wheel on the track in order to keep your lap times valid.
And the Bear now flying for what I imagine would be an attempt at pole position here. He is on these soft compound tires. He's coming down out of the chicane through sector 2 right now.
He's balancing that car beautifully through the hill. Purple middle sector. He still doesn't have the time on Revo. That's a bit wide though. I feel like he has the time to back out, I believe.
You won't be too thrilled about that.
Nice.
We'll jump on with Revo, his main rival in this grid. Revo is up a massive amount right now. I have to say he's 3.5 tenths up coming out of Sector 1. So that is going to be quite the time to beat. And I don't think anyone's going to have an opportunity to beat it here. Very clean through the chicane, utilizing as much of that inside curbing.
That was nice. Didn't take as much of the inside of 9 as possible as he probably could have. So he takes 11. Wonderful. All of the track. 12. Uses inside curb. Gee, look at how well he controls that slide. That lockup probably doesn't mean much. That's probably just through internet connection right there. A lot of this is confidence right here. Pin it to the floor. What time are you going to do? 12.4.
Well, that's going to be the session. Revo retiring his car on circuit here. Gauzieg's car on a flyer behind. It would have seemed.
Impulse on the lap as well, I believe.
Not entirely sure why Revo retired his car on circuit. Stewards will be looking at that. Big impulse right now on a flyer. He's in P4 presently, looking to improve on a 113.386.
He nailed turn 4, the apex of it, but it didn't look like any confidence, so he didn't really carry any speed to it. That's a slow Ruben on the racing line. That's not going to make him very happy. Losing him about a tenth or two through turn 8. Yeah, he's just trying to find that time. Yeah.
That's where we saw Ben invalidate too, is coming out of turn 12 there.
Trim's the last runner, but he looks just about like he's having a stroll in a park.
Out of fuel. Out of fuel, yeah. Mikkel with an abysmal qualifying. I have to say, P20, not something you'd see from him on a regular basis. Not something I've ever seen from him.
I'm
Revo.
surprised with the amount I'm sorry about that. I'm surprised with the amount of people that came out on softs that him and Panda decided to opt for mediums. It makes sense to just go with the whole pack because everyone else is gonna be on the same tires. You might as well just, or at least in the top 10 I should say, you might as well just wing it and go on the softs as well. But maybe those two hate the feel of the softs and prefer to play the long game than the short game.
Yeah, for sure. It's an interesting strategy choice, of course. Revo on pole position, a 112.4 from him. We have Ben the Bear lining up next to him on the front row. The tie driver, a 113 flat. We have Freeware rounding out your top 3 in a reserve capacity. That's, of course, Freeware filling in for Shrimp over at Alpha. I imagine Revo going to be happy with that replacement, considering where the Alpha is running in comparison. Of course, Impulse in 4th, and it's Big Al in 5th here. And we'll go down through the rest of this grid for you come the formation lap. Of course, if you're just tuning in, Misfits Racing League Oceanic Division, it's Revo, the Sauber Esports development driver on pole. Ben the Bear, very, very fast. On the rear of him, he didn't get his final lap time through. Mikau at the rear of this grid, someone we've seen very fast. We'll have to see how he cuts up the field. Quite a capable driver. Hope to see him do well here. The Red Bulls with that interesting strategy choice. We have a little bit of doom and gloom here in the pit lane, but we have been told it's going to be a all-dry campaign. Of course, if you're looking for a ton of racing action, guys, hit that follow button. We are doing a ton of racing here on the Misfits Racing League channel. This is our 2nd out of 5 Hungarian Grand Prix this week. We have 2 more. For those of you in the UK, perhaps, 9:15 p.m. BST, 11:15 p.m. BST. We've got 2 races for you this evening or this morning if you are over in the oceanic regions. So we've got lots of racing. We got Club Division tomorrow, and we have a 100% exhibition, or as we call it, the Endurance Series, this Saturday around Suzuka. So lots of fun racing happening. Of course, all of these drivers now getting ready to go racing. It's going to be the formation lap here in Budapest.
This overcast conditions might help the soft runners just a little, not a lot. Won't give them much of an advantage, but might just tame their tire temperatures just a tad. Everyone outside of the top 10 not on softs, apart from we have everybody pretty much just on mediums, apart from Wangard, who's on the hards.
Revo, once again on pole position. Ben the Bear in second. That's Freeware and the other Alfa Romeo in third. Something that we saw. Good performances from the Alfa Romeo drivers in esports yesterday. Of course, it's Impulse in fourth. We have Al in fifth. Stars in sixth. Hopefully he has a bit of a longer race today. Didn't start in Austria. Made it one full lap in Silverstone. We'll see if he can't make it to 2 laps here in Hungary. T-Mac in 7th, Rez in 8th, Trin in 9th. That's Yukio rounding out your top 10. And then we go down through the harder compound runners. Wangod, the only driver on the hards, as you said. Of course, Simdaga, Apollo, Panda. We have combined Wangod as once again. Ruben, Psycho, Zaino, Gazieg, and Mikau. 20 drivers here around the Hungaroring.
We're just having a very tame formation lap, making sure gets those tires up to some form of temperature, but not also overdoing it.
Thank you very much in the chat for your dollar donation. Cheering on Mr. Ben the Bear. We hope to see him go well here. And we hope he can put on a display that you would like to see. Thank you for your dollar.
It's a fairly decent sized run down to turn 1. Expect him, especially with the inside line, he can get a good start. Could really throw some spanners into Revo's race.
Well, we are lining up on the grid now, finally, to get going for our full Hungarian Grand Prix. It's the second time this week, of course. For the Oceanic grid now, we get to go as all of these drivers get into their final grid starting positions. The lights are coming on in a very interesting fashion here. But the drivers are revving their engines. It's going to be Revo off the line. We are away racing here in Budapest, on board with Freeware, who's had a fantastic launch. Ben the Bear, not so much. Coming down to the line, it's too wide between the two drivers, and the Alfa Romeo around the outside right now. He goes deep. There's a bit of a timing desync right now, given the host of this lobby. I do believe it is Mikau, but he is quite a ways down this grid. Not entirely sure where he's landing. Still watching what's going on at the front here. We're going to switch on back to T-Mac now, who's around the outside of Rez, coming down through turn 2, up through, or turn 3, excuse me, as we move through turn 4. All of these drivers, there was a wheel-to-wheel exchange there. It was Apollo. He's still wheel-to-wheel. Mikau has a front row seat to this action, and this is some scary stuff coming out of turn 5 here, and we've got a yellow flag up coming through sector 2, and there goes a car. That's going to be Wangod off, done a 180 out of the chicane.
What a start from Stars. He was able to get his car in the right position, and he's gone up 2 places, got past Impulse and Big Al. Surprised Ben the Bear didn't get as good as a start as I thought he would, but Freeware running wide on the exit of turn 1 just allowed him to get back into position around that outside. So
Wangod, Gazieg, both with some opening lap shenanigans there. You can see they've dropped off this grid significantly, but there's a variety of drivers within a deadlocked position on this grid right now. Mikau's had a really good start. He's up into 14th position. Drivers are still going for these exchanges as Freeware still very tight to the rear of Ben.
yeah, it's crucial for Stars to just try and stay in Freeware's DRS range and just get that DRS detection in order to help him defend off Big Impulse.
Impulse, purple,
Ooh.
coming out of turn 4, but he was real shaky there.
Yeah, that looked like a warning for Stars up ahead at turn 4. He had a lot on the inside of that corner, so
Things quite tight in this grid right now. Yukio, the last driver in the points, has Trin in the Ferrari ahead of him with his teammate Rez just ahead of one car in 8th position. As Impulse now and Stars, they're wheel-to-wheel coming through turn 12. Stars is going to get ahead of the Mercedes, still holding things in 4th, but Impulse has shown his hand, and Stars knows he is absolutely barking up his gearbox right now.
Yeah, Impulse got a rocket run out of turn 11. As Stars has already gone defensive out of the corner. That might destroy his run, or he might just be letting Impulse through here. That's what it looks like. Yeah.
DRS enabled for these drivers now. Revo took the fastest lap there as well. 1:17.295 from him after the first full lap of green flag running.
Just flicking down the field, both Red Bulls gaining positions. Mikau up 6, Rapanda up 2.
Apollo under some major threat here from the Red Bull, and there's a retirement. Or no, it's not a retirement, it's a disconnection, as I say. It's Ben the Bear, and it seems that Trin is also suffering this issue. And that's something that we saw from him, I believe it was last week. Ben the Bear back into the lobby now.
Interesting. What does that put him in relation to Revo? That puts him 1.7 seconds off the pace.
Yeah, and so it's really put him into Freeware's hands here.
Freeware's just got to be patient here, because he's technically got the position as Ben the Bear's car lags back as he takes control. Oh, now Ben the Bear's got DRS.
Grid is going to repopulate with the appropriate times as these drivers cross the line, and as Zeno has now left the session, it looks like we're going to be playing the Timing Tower musical chairs game today. Yukio on the inside of Trin coming down into turn 1 right now. A little bit of a wheel bang. This is going to open the door for Panda. Panda now wheel to wheel on the exit of turn 1, and that's Trin losing out 2 positions inside of a turn. Panda now going to be looking to defend against the Ferrari, well, looking to catch up some pace on the McLaren ahead. Trin needs to be careful because Simdaga is still in this train and the Williams behind.
Yeah, this is not working out well for Trin. That disconnect's really hurt his chances of points now, especially considering he's on the softs. Right now, his game should be to pit as early as possible and just try and get an undercut on all these guys just battling in DRS trains. Remember, it's soft to hard or medium to hard as strategies. That would be a warning for Trin right there, I'd suspect. And another one right there.
Quite the train we're seeing right now in this midfield, as all of these hours or intervals are going to update on the timing tower, excuse me, as Ben the Bear now on the inside of Freeware coming down into turn 1, trying to regain that front row starting position that he began this race in. As I say, Panda on the inside of Yukio coming down through turn 1, and it's a neat move from the Red Bull.
Very respectful from the two.
Mikau, the other Red Bull, on the inside coming down through turn 2 on Apollo. They're wheel to wheel coming through here. A little bit of a wheel scrape between the two, but it's going to be Mikau on the charge into 13th.
Once again, some more respectful racing. That's what you like to see. Relatively hard and relatively fair. As Red Panda's now cleared this, it's going to be interesting to see how he goes from here.
Long race here around Budapest, or in the Hungaroring, of course, and it is a potential circuit where we could see some safety cars. We're only on lap 5, about to be crossing through into lap 6, and we've had not a single VSC or safety car deployed, knockwood, so we'll have to see if these drivers can keep things nice and clean. Zaino rejoins the lobby. Big Al very tight to the rear of Stars right now. We've seen Big Al have some very good performances so far this season. I, of course, think back to Britain when I say that.
Podium, yeah.
He had a fantastic podium finish there, keeping things nice and consistent. Stars looking to break that slipstream, the little slipstream you get in the current model. Coming down into turn 1 is where you'll see most of the overtaking here in the Hungaroring, but not enough just yet for Big Al. However, Trin dispatching Yukio into turn 1, and it looks like Mikau is making some fireworks happen Wheel to wheel right now with Simdogga. It's the Red Bull on the outside, and they've got the McLaren just ahead of them. Mikau on the inside now, switching through. Simdogga not taking no for an answer here.
Yeah,
He wants to get back through.
Ooh. Yeah, someone had to yield into 4, and it was Mikau was on the outside. Simdogga got the better run into 3. Is Mikau still looking at Simdogga? Make a bit of contact.
Yeah, this is going to really open him up. Apollo getting back by. Mikau still defending. We have a nice aerial view here. The helicopter on the right car at the moment. Mikau really, really pushing here on these medium compound tires. He's got to see what he can do to get back into some solid points positions. He started this race in 20th, this Red Bull.
You just need to be more patient with Simdogga going into turn 6. I didn't see a point in trying to fight into that really tight chicane.
Stars has blinked off the softs.
Man, he locked up the pedal. Yeah. Relatively smart choice here.
Panda
quick.
on the rear.
By the McLaren, and
Panda with a neat move. Sorry to interrupt you. Panda with a neat move on the inside of Rez now. Panda is up 6 positions. Mikau is up 8 positions now at the 2 pit stops from Stars and Yukio.
It's saying Stars losing time because he got held up by Yukio. It's only been 7 laps, but I've been very impressed with Red Panda's drive so far. He's got some more work to do in order to make something more out of this.
Oh, there's a retirement, and we have a VSC deployed, and that's coming out of turn 4. Wangod and Psycho, both AlphaTauris having to avoid him quite quick. His car is in the center of the circuit here, and you can see Zaino coming through. Ooh, Zaino just got lucky. Zaino almost didn't slow down for that car, and we might have just seen him go into the rear.
Revo spinning, expect others to pit as long as that VSC stays out.
Well, Ben the Bear isn't blinking.
Freeway has to stay out because otherwise he's going to get caught up by that double stack. Impulse is called in as well.
I don't know if this has helped Revo. I mean, it's given him a little bit of time here, but we'll have to see what happens. He's jumped onto some hard compound tires.
Yeah, he'll come out between this pack here. That's actually not too bad of a compromise right now. Yeah, that's some perfect timing.
Hards to the end, though.
Yeah, hard to the end.
Well, we'll see.
Unless we have a late safety car, don't see why not hards to the end.
Oh, and there's an issue. It looks like there's been 3 cars caught up in a collision coming outside turn 2 here. Mikau has end plate damage. I'm not entirely sure who else was caught up. Simdogga is in a situation here.
He nearly just took out Wangod and Psycho coming back onto the circuit.
Was that a reset to circuit? I wasn't entirely sure. I think it might have been.
Didn't get a good look at it, but I just saw him kind of come back onto the circuit. So, and I saw Wangod and Psycho try to avoid it. So, yeah, it just looked like there was a big cluster on the exit of turn 2. So,
Rez.
It was fast.
Rez has a little problem named Revo right now. Revo being really impatient, but it's going to pay out. He actually just doesn't have time to wait around here. He just says, no, you know what, Rez, I'm going to go on the inside of turn 13. You're going to pit, no problem. I'm into P4. But it almost it was risky for Revo there, because I don't know if Rez knew that he was going to go for that move and put his wing in there. Ben into the pit lane now. Revo passes him by. What's the gap going to be? It's going to be significant here. I think far more significant than what we saw, considering combined stays out in between these 2 drivers. And look at all the pit stops coming through now. Massive exchanges coming down the grid. We'll take a look at the current positions now. Combined up 11 positions yet to pit, as is Panda. Up 12.
Same with Wangod and Psycho. That move from Revo was pure confidence in his own skill and the skill of Rez to be able to spot him there and not turn across him.
Battle between 2 McLarens right now. Rez on the fresh hards. His teammate Yukio on the currently quicker medium compound tires is what I'll say. As we jump on over to the Haas, it's Big Al within half a second of Psycho. Psycho on some older medium rubber.
pretty straightforward for Big Al. Pressure tyres also shown to have the pace advantage from qualifying, and is well within 4/10 of Psycho, is just going to make the move already on the exit. Simple as you like.
Combine now, he's lost a position to Ben the Bear. Of course, Combine a stop down compared to these front runners. And now your lead driver, he's still got to come in. Safety car right now would be great for him, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm. He's just got to hope one comes out.
Ferrari's 11-12 right now. It's the Williams of T-Mac in 10th, 3 seconds ahead of them, and it's Rez and the McLaren squad of Yukio, his teammate, behind, and there's a bit of a train formed behind Stars right now.
Two Ferraris and two McLarens going at it.
Mikal on the rear of Apollo. They're both on the fresh hards. Mikal with a bit of an issue. I'm not entirely sure. Of course, stewards will have an opportunity to review that incident later on should the drivers choose to report it, as Panda now has been overtaken for the lead of this race. Revo, back where he started things on the number 1 slot. Ben the Bear won 16.791 on the medium compound tires, and this is something of interest here. He's on these mediums, but he's got 8 seconds to Revo ahead. Impulse looks like he's made it ahead for the moment. It's a wheel-to-wheel exchange coming out of turn 1. Wangod versus Impulse, but Impulse gets it done into 6th. Yukio with a fantastic run. It's Rez that's going to lose out here. Coming out of turn 3 into turn 4 now. T-Mac has caught up with Psycho as well. Looking to capture an additional point into P9th is the Williams. Big Al takes a 3-second time penalty, and that's something that's going to come into play at the end of this race, is the potential of penalties.
Panda picked one up before, I think, in the act of letting Revo through around turn 4.
T-Mac, I think he's going to have a great run down into turn 1 here. Psycho's opting to stay out, and it's going to be a really good exit and a lot of traction on these hards for T-Mac. The Williams with DRS now on the rear to the inside of the pit straight. And that's going to be a clean-cut move ahead into 9th.
Pretty straightforward.
Mikal doing a little bit different here. He's around the outside of Zaino coming through the final turn. And he's going to get that move done ahead of turn 1 with the DRS to throw down the gauntlet just the same. And neatly done from him as he looks to make his way through this field. He's on hards to the end here as well. Now the thing with these drivers that get on these hards, and why it's important that you get on the hards earlier than, you know, if you go from, let's say, Mikal, he went on those mediums at the start of the Revo, just took a 3-second time penalty. That could be a problem for him later down the line. Apollo's done the same. But as I was saying, you get onto those hards early. If there's potential for a safety car, which there definitely is here around the Hungaroring, you get onto those mediums depending on when that car comes out, or you have the potential to get onto some red rubber and get onto some soft. So there's quite a few different strategies these racers on the hards can deploy should safety cars play a role. Mediums, putting these drivers with a little bit more limited options. As I look now, it's going to be Impulse, back on the outside of Combined, coming down through turn 1. There's another exchange of Stars on Psycho. It looks like Impulse into 5th will switch on over with Stars to take a look. Flipping back to the Renault, that's Combined. He was looking back at Impulse, but of course Impulse, a little bit more pace right now on the fresher rubber. Going to be getting that done. Psycho being overtaken by both Ferraris in the span of 2 turns. That's Stars and Trin, 10 and 11, and it's going to be Yukio looking on around the outside of the AlphaTauri coming out of turn 3. And these mediums are really, really hurting Psycho here. Rez is going to be the next driver to inherit position.
Yeah, Psycho Star is just a good, say about 6 laps older than everyone else's. Star's got him out of traction out of 14. Psycho's just getting swelled up. He's going to have to think about pitting sooner than later. The safety car's not really going to help him much at this point, where he is position-wise in this race.
Rez
So no,
hasn't been able to dispatch Psycho just yet. It's the tightest gap on circuit that we're seeing unfold right now, and we'll have to see if he's able to get it done into turn one. He's got a good look at the inside now. He's getting that car wheel-to-wheel. Psycho giving him the space. The wheel-to-wheel coming out of the final turn now. DRS for Rez is going to give him a great run on the inside, coming down through ahead into turn one. Trin, Yukio in an exchange. We saw Trin overtake Yukio coming out of turn one last time round. This time around, it's Yukio getting back into 11th as Stars is pulling away 2.2 seconds ahead of this fight.
he's able to close in on T-Mac as well.
Good race we're seeing here. A lot of clean overtaking. Not too much drama, but things in the top 10 right now are quite spaced out. There's a good chunk of differential on tire life as well. You've got, of course, Panda, Combined, and Wangod all yet to pit in this one so far, and Stars has just taken a 3-second time penalty. Rez continuing his hunt for position now. Trin is going to be the next driver under threat here. A big late dive from Rez. Trin sees him in the rear view, adjusts. Rez locks up the tires there and decides he's not going to even try to continue that. It would have been a really, really tough move to try and pull off there. Trin was turning in when he tried for that lunge.
That's some good awareness by Trin. I reckon if Trin doesn't see him there, they probably both spin around. That would most likely be a penalty for Rez.
That would have been a very interesting incident. Could have even potentially been the safety car I think a few of these drivers wanted to see on this grid.
Red Panda now coming under pressure from Ben the Bear as Stars mounts the pressure on T-Mac.
And the Bear is sticking to Panda like glue right now, and Panda going to be feeling these mediums definitely in comparison to what Ben's running.
Panda's calling it now.
.2 seconds, 6.3, dancing in that range. Forced to Revo ahead. It's a battle between mediums and hards now, and both of these drivers have the potential to make it to the end on these. Freeware in third position where he began this race. Let's take a look at the position changes. Panda is going to come out of the pits, and the big question is, where is he going to land? Because he's had to make a good push here.
He's going to come out in front of this battle. It's going to be very interesting to see how he goes now.
Three drivers yet to pit, Combined, Wancod, Psycho, and Zaino all yet to pit in this race so far. Rez just sticking with Trin coming through the chicane. They've got Psycho 3.2 seconds behind them, and then it's this battle in the midfield right now. Combined, followed by Wangod, and then they have Al barking up the rear in the Haas.
This could be frustrating at Al right here, because considering that Combined pulling the plug now, considering that Wangod and Combined have been pitted yet, that might be annoying. And just getting stuck behind that, that's going to be losing in time.
Combines in. He's off the mediums, I imagine, onto some hards here.
He's not really making any movements on Wangod. Taking it down a tenth or 2/10 now in that due to DRS. Keen to see how Red Panda is able to progress up the field as he gets those tyres living up to their potential.
T-Mac. Half a second on the rear of Stars.
Yeah, I think we just missed
I think
an
that was an
overtake
overtake, yeah.
Yeah.
Looking to keep up though with the Ferrari. Rez still with the other Ferrari, and things are just spacing themselves out. I think a lot more than I had anticipated for this grid. Especially considering what we've seen, especially around Austria, a little bit in Silverstone.
I think with that accident we had at turn 3 is that stars into the wall on the exit of turn 13. He's just lit it up on the traction. He's come across the track and come into the pits now. Yeah, but like I said before, that incident at turn 3, there was a big, decent sized train there, and it's just that kind of tore that train up.
Made the call, he's going to jump onto some fresh mediums, which could be good for him. From the end of this race, any incidents, you know, perhaps throwing themselves into this equation. Vanguard still under threat from Big Al here. Big Al has not been able to pull the trigger on this.
Like I said, it's got to be frustrating him. He's not able to make any grounds on him. Look at Red Panda in the background. It's a second in about a lap or two. And look, he's dropped off to about 6/10 now. He's not really able to stick on him, and he's not really able to overtake him either in the straight. So yeah, it's going to be frustrating stuff for Big Al. But this is what makes drivers adversity. This is what makes a good driver, and the ability to overcome that. If he wants to beat Panda, I'd say he needs to. Oh, well, he's just going to be released now. There's a Vanguard pits, but if Vanguard were to stay out longer, I was going to say that Big Al needed to overtake him in order to at least put up a greater fight to Red Panda.
Stars on the rear of Simdaga now. Simdaga planting that car in the middle of the circuit. Stars with some aggressive weaving and distaste out here. But he's going to go around the outside through 13, it would seem. Simdaga a little bit earlier on the brakes here. And I don't know what Simdaga was trying to get done in that defense with Stars, but it has not panned out for him in the slightest. Stars has flown, excuse me, He's flown his way ahead into 15th position, and we have combined now.
Yeah, I think he just thought he was going to fight that, and then he's just pulled over to the left and just kind of let Stars through. A bit odd, but he was caught in two minds or something.
Yeah, that was
a train building it for P9 though.
Yeah, Rez got it ahead of Trin finally. We saw him on the rear for some time. Mikau has shown up to the party. He began this race in 20th position. He's on hards to the end.
I'm interested to see how Vanguard goes on those mediums. Whether he'll be able to snatch a couple of points from Rez at this stage, as Mikau looks like he will get Trin. Either this lap or the next.
Mikau has had a very unique outing here in Hungary, I think, to say the least. Now here we go for the move around the outside, coming through into turn 4. Trin says, no way I'm going to even bother defending against that. That's suicidal coming through turn 4, wheel to wheel, especially at this phase of the race. Mikau now up 10 positions.
It's not one of Mikau's stronger circuits from past memory. It's Red Panda's now in the DRS range of Big Al.
I'd have to say it's been a very calm race. It's been a very calm race. I haven't had to lose my vocal cords too much here. Hasn't been a lot of it's just been a good, consistent race strategy at play here. Good wheel-to-wheel action.
Been relatively clean, apart from the one incident we've seen so far. It's not really a track where you'll see people necessarily, I'd say, bin it themselves, but rather you'd see them bin it on each other, trying to do something crazy. His Panda's really lighting up that rear end out of turn 5, trying to get past Big Al. Panda has all the RS at disposal, and Big Al has 40%. So Panda really should utilize this between turn 11 and 12, which is right now, and between 13 and 14, just a little bit there, and along that lovely start-finish straight.
Walk-ups from both drivers now in this fight for 5th. Of course, as you said, the energy on that Red Bull massive, and I think he's going to utilize it down the straight. I don't understand why he wouldn't here.
I'm a bit confused why he wouldn't use it up just a little between turn 12 and 13 and 13 and 14, because he's looking for a lunge here. No, just because you regain it under braking either way, so might as well just use up a little bit of it just once you've got the car settled in the traction.
Oh, with a big look there, that's Panda into the rear, and they're both off outside of turn 2. What a late move from Panda, and that's going to be Big Al shooting ahead through, and
he didn't need to do that. That was a bit like
Wangod on the inside now, turn 2. We just saw it between two other drivers, but it's going to be Wangod showing Panda how to do it on the replay.
Yeah, it's just, that was a bit odd. I don't understand why he needed to go for that. I could understand him doing that into turn 1 because that's a wide entry and it kind of close on you, but it's a lot slower, whereas turn 2 is about 130 k's, third gear. It's a lot tighter. You have to really have your car under control. Throw back to Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo in 2017. They had it running together. It's not really a corner where you can do late braking, so it's a bit odd there. You have to really commit to it, and it either committed too late or he just didn't get his car nearly alongside enough for being able to react to it, or have to give him the respect because he's going to have to pit now. Yeah, it's just a bit silly. He could have waited the extra lap as well. He had the pace on him, he had the ARS.
Oh, wow, that really cost Panda, man. He's come into the pit lane now. He's had to get onto some medium compound tires. Mikal on the charge now. Rez under major threat, and this is where we saw it from the one Red Bull.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do when you're looking into that corner. Just have a bit of a peek, but if you're not going to commit,
oh! Nice, there goes Rez outside of turn 3. And that might be the safety car we've been waiting for. No, it isn't. It's a VSC.
I was about to say that was a nice move, but I think maybe either Mikal came across him on the exit, or
I think Rez's car might have just caught one of the rear tires of Mikal there.
Yeah.
That was a violent crash, though, for the McLaren. Very fast, flat-out section of circuit coming down through turn 3 there, and this VSC has given some drivers an opportunity to get in for some pit stops. Ben the Bear is onto some fresh mediums.
This is surprising. This could actually pay off for Impulse a bit. Freeware's a good 11 seconds behind him. I think Ben the Bear will obviously get Impulse, but I'm be interested to see if Freeware could do that. He might be able to. It's about a second a lap. Yeah, it's possible, but it's got some work to do.
Well, it's not going to work out for Impulse in the sense of P2, but as you said, it could very well work out for him in the sense of a podium position here. The gap to Freeware behind. Well, Freeware, I don't know. We got some racing left to do here.
Yeah. Yukio PT was aiming for the 2-stop all along. Yeah, that's why he went on the mediums in the second stint. It's a bit questionable from him.
The question is what the penalty situation is at the front of this grid.
I could check for you in a sec. Just a statement on that Rez Mikal incident. I'm pretty sure Rez was in front into turn 3. I'm not sure why he didn't try and hold that line and just push Mikal wide if he was seeking to can move around the outside. I'm a bit interested to see, or think of why he would just kind of let Mikko have the corner, essentially. Revo has 3 seconds. Impulse has 3 seconds. Sorry, Ben the Bear. Ben the Bear has none. Impulse has 3 seconds. Freeware has 6 seconds. Make that 9 seconds. Big Al is on 3 seconds. PMAC on 3 seconds and 2 warnings. Mick out. He's just chilling at the moment. Wayne God's got 6 seconds by the looks of it. Trin.
And got around the outside of Mikko through
right.
turn 3. It's turn 2, excuse me, sorry to interrupt you there. And Mikko holds it.
I would have got that. Yeah, Wayne God would have to back out into turn 3s and not necessarily alongside Mikko enough to fight for the right to the apex there. So if he were to understeer into Mikko, that would have been his fault. Red Panda's got 3 seconds. Pepsi looks like he has 9
Yellow
seconds.
flag, that's a driver. Is that Zaino in the Racing Point? It is. And the Bear 1:15.8, the fastest lap of the session now.
Yeah. Zone has just dropped that on the inside curve of turn 5. That white curve, which is pretty deadly. Get a couple of those around the calendar in this Codemasters game, but
Wengod is dropping off of Mikko a little bit here. One thing to talk about, Yuki on these fresh softs has stars, who I do believe he overtook last lap into 13th position. Now next up on the chopping block, it's Apollo. Apollo going to be defending to the inside around turn 14 here. A bit of a wave coming out of the Mercedes, it looked like, on the onboard of the McLaren.
It looked like he reacted to Pepsi running a bit deep, a bit optimistic to look around the outside of turn 14, but he's got to switch back on here.
Ooh, that was a little bit touch and go there. Apollo with a big weave onto the inside there, moving into braking.
Yukio kind of destroyed his run by getting his tyres on, or just a little bit on that inside curve of turn 1. That's ruined his traction. He just kept it wide a bit, just allowed him to carry a bit more speed on the exit.
Yukio, half a second. Apollo defending nicely at the moment, coming through Sector 2 on this occasion. Yukio with so much speed on these softs in comparison though, but Budapest, the Hungaroring, a circuit where patience is a virtue, and you need to have that patience, and we saw it happen a few times where those drivers didn't have the patience.
He needs to be patient here. He will get the position.
Wangod and Mikko in an exchange.
Wangod's got that position for now. Here we go. He's getting impatient. He's just... Yukio's just gone under the throttle on the inside curve. That's ruined his run. Pepsi's defending to the inside. Here we go. Another chance for a switchback. This time can he get this better? Yes, he can. That's perfect.
Isn't going to be enough though.
Around the outside, that's the question. Should be able to hold this around the outside. Pepsi will have to yield into turn 3. Yeah, he already yielded midway through turn 2, so job done so far for Yukio.
Banda's had an issue. He's had a disconnection. He's in 11th position. 5.7 seconds to the rear of him is Yukio. And there goes Yukio, as I say. He's had an issue coming through turn 5.
And that inside curve. His combines now close up onto Trin. Mikko and Wangod closing up onto T-Mac.
Well, those softs are going to be really feeling it now. Wangod, as you said, on T-Mac, move to the inside coming down the pit straight.
Let's see if T-Mac can try and hold on to P7. The line's just going to peak at Trin. He's having a really good peak at the moment. He's looking around the outside of turn 2 at the moment. It looks like he's got the move done.
Yukio's had another issue in Sector 2. Yellow flags popping up through there. The McLaren not going to be too thrilled as now Trin gets ahead of Combined into turn 4.
Nothing there. Get the move done. Couldn't see what happened there. That's been interesting.
Apollo under threat of stars. Major tire differential, stars 9 lap versus 18 lap old hards at the moment.
You can see when a car is all over another person is when they start shadowing them like Stars is doing to Pepsi right now.
Yeah, Mikkel on the inside of T-Mac through turn 1. Yeah, Mikkel getting ahead nice into 7th position now. Mac looking quite closely at the rear of that Red Bull still, though. Doesn't want to give it up quite easily, as I say, though. Stars not giving Apollo much opportunity here. Around the outside now through turn 1. They're wheel to wheel. Are we going to get a switch back? There we have the Ferrari. Look to the inside, but I don't know if he's going to have the run. Yes, he is, with a great amount of traction coming out of those mediums. That Stars into 12th.
Wheeler is able to drop that gap down to Impulse to just under 4 seconds, but keep in mind Freeway has about 9 seconds of penalties and Impulse is about 3 seconds, so...
Well, I want to know when these tires of Revos are going to absolutely hit that cliff, because we have Ben the Bear on these mediums. We've got still a few laps of racing here. Penalties are going to play a role in the final time. The question is, will it change any positions here in this one? Revo, with a really good strategy, up a massive amount on time, 17.5 seconds. It's going to be quite the hill to climb for the Thai driver in P2.
I don't think Revo has much to worry about. Those hards can go a long time from what I have heard.
Things have really been quite calm on the overall level, and we've had some good exchanges, though, some great overtaking.
It's not on combined. He got that move done on Trim before, but I don't know what happened as to why Trim got back by. Maybe combined made a mistake into turn 4 earlier on, or maybe there was a bit of a stutter for him, which would cause his car to drop back behind Trin on track. And he's going to have to do all this over again. At this point, he needs to start saving his ERS, because he's not going to get a move done at the moment. Especially with Trin having 75% ERS and combined only having that 20%. Trin can just manage that the rest of the race, because combined needs to be a bit more tactful with his use of it. He's really gone for it, hasn't he?
Timing tower on my end a little bit desynced at the moment as a result of Panda and his rejoin. Combined tight to the rear of Trin, as we've been watching for some time now. Combined wanting to get perhaps another point away from this Ferrari here, and we're on lap 32.
ERS, he's going to need about 40% ERS as he comes onto the final straight. Sorry, the main straight, I should say. If he wants to have a chance at overtaking him, because when your ERS drops below 10%, you start to lose a bit of power output, but when it drops below 5%, you lose a lot of power output from the battery. So obviously he's got what he wants to do, but he wants to get this move done. It's on track, I should say. He needs to start saving it. He's even using it between turn 11 and 12. That's an interesting choice. Meanwhile, Trin's still on 70%. As Impulse picks up his second penalty, I believe.
Things have really come down and calmed right down to the end of this race. It's not a lot of battles happening, but it's a big lunge from Combined on the inside of Trin coming down through turn 1, and it looks like Yukio's in the back having an exchange with Gaziek. Trin now Holding 9th position, combined around the outside of turn 2. Not getting it
Not
done.
gonna go. No, Freeware spun on the inside curve of turn 5, I believe. That's why he's dropped off about 10, or more than 10 seconds to Impulse now. This is going to be a podium for Impulse, most likely.
Oh no. Simdog has had a retirement. He's had an issue coming out of turn 1.
He spun it. Just lost it on the traction.
Oh no. He won't be too thrilled with that, that's for sure. Combined. Just sticking with Trin here, and you have that battle between Gazieg and Yukio unfolding right behind them as they've been lapped, Gazieg and Yukio.
Combined should aim for an overtake at the end of, sorry, the start of not lap 34, but lap 35. Just save that ERS. And that's what he's going to do. It's Freeware pits. Yeah, how's Freeware going to play into this equation with Combine and Trin? Is he going to be interesting?
We're going to be going for that fastest lap, I guess. I don't know. It's an interesting call to see him on softs there.
Unless he got some damage from that spin at turn 5. Jeez. No, Mikhail and Wangod's still going at it. Mikhail's just hanging in that DRS range. It's not been a good day for Simdogger, who's now confirmed 18th places. So, you know, technically unlaps himself from him or overtakes him. Look at this, Freeware's already on the back of this group. Gozieg's going to have to get out the way of Freeware, as he does. The same will have to be for Yukio.
Cal P6 on the rear of Wangod.
Oh, careful that inside curve. Got really close there. You see, just have made those little corrections.
Moving on the inside of turn 4 there, Combined completely conceded there. I think he just didn't want to have any issues. Trin now under major threat. Freeware is not waiting around. He's into 8th position. That's 2 and 2 for the German.
Look at that. That's such a good run out of turn 5. Wow, that was impressive. Well, obviously he's on the soft compound tyres, but gee, wasn't expecting that good of a run compared to Trin out of turn 5. Jeez, Combine looks like he's struggling with his tyres. Just
Cal looking at Wangod into turn 1 now.
He's got a chance. Oh, does he? Yes, he does. If he pull this off, no, he's gonna have to back out.
For the moment.
Yeah.
Revo takes the checkered flag. That's Revo with the race win here. Ben the Bear about to cross the line. He's coming out of the final turn. The tie driver in the racing point, finishing 2nd position here. It's going to be Impulse, 3rd driver to cross.
Been impressive from Impulse. Quietly good. Hasn't got himself in trouble. Just kept his head down. Would have been a boring race, but it's a good race nonetheless. So congratulations on a podium to him.
Revo, Ben the Bear, Impulse, your podium finishers here in this one for round 3 of the Oceanic Division. Of course, we have Big Al now rounding through the final 2 turns. Mick Al still in a hunt with Wangod. We'll switch to that momentarily. Of course, Big Al crosses the line. Neatly done from the Haas driver. A good drive from him. Wangod in 5th position now, under threat here. How are penalties going to play? It's Mick Al taking the flag. In 6th position, penalties slotting him ahead. T-Mac crosses 7th, and now it's Freeware to the line. He finishes 8th with the fastest lap to boot. A 1:15.563 from the German. Drin in 9th, and combined rounding out your top 10 points finishers here in this one. Good race overall. Revo once again with the win. Ben the Bear in 2nd, and it was Impulse with a fantastic drive, netting a nice podium in 3rd. Mikhail getting driver of the day, of course, finishing 5th, all things said and done. He started this race in 20th, the Red Bull. Neatly done. After, well, I think it may have been a little bit further up had there not been a bit of drama at a phase of that race. Couple VSCs, no full safety cars, and I think that's always something that you like to see, is no full safety cars around Budapest. Of course, we've got 2 more races this evening for those in the UK. Tier 2, Tier 1 action still to come to you later on. That's at 9:15 and 11:15 p.m. respectively over in the UK for those 2 races. Now, let's take a look. Revo once again with the race win. Ben the Bear in 2nd. That's Impulse in 3rd. He started in 4th. Neatly done from him. So Al and Impulse both moved up a slot. Mikhail from 20th to 5th. Wangod with a superlative drive and a great defense versus Mikhail there at the end. He ended up crossing ahead of Mikhail, but it was the penalties that did him in on this one. 15th to 6th. Still a fantastic drive from the AlphaTauri. D-Mac started in 7th. Finishes in 7th for a consistent drive and, start-finish position. You have Freeware there. He's dropped back 5 positions, but he claimed the fastest lap for the Alpha squad, and you have Trin there in 9th with combined rounding out your top 10. Of course, also participating in this one, we had Stars, Panda, Apollo Pepsi, we have Psycho, Gazieg, Yukio, and then we had Zaino, Simdog, Rez, and Ruben. Ruben was the first driver out of this race. And it was just a good race overall. So super happy to get to watch that one. Thank you so much, Seb, as always, for joining me. And
Thanks for having me.
To all the viewers as well, thanks for tuning in. That's going to wrap up action for round 3 of the Oceanic Division. We'll have more racing later this evening, as I said. And hit up that Discord if you're looking to join a fantastic community, whether you are, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. We're a global community of racers doing unranked lobbies, fun stuff like that, helping each other out with setups. Hit up the Misfits community. Look no further. And if you're looking for a league, we're global. We're looking for people from all over the world. So get on in, apply. It's a ton of fun. And you could be on stream racing here in the Misfits Racing League. Of course, like I said, we are going to be rating a member of the Formula One community. I'm going to take a look real quick at who is around to catch a nice raid. Really quick here. Of course, hit that follow button if you're looking for a ton of racing action. I'm gonna rate a new streamer here. What I think is a new. Is Sim live? Is Sim even live right now?
No, he's not.
I don't think Simdog is live.